like 1 to 1, 1 to 1, and 1 to many, and many to many, many to many. Okay, this is what we are going to discuss today. Okay. So let's talk about one-to-one first. Basically, what is one-to-one? Right? We know how to create a simple table, and we know how to create a table with constraints like the column that should not allow null values, the column that should not allow null and duplicate values, the column should not allow if the condition null is not, the data is not satisfied, and how to take the default value if you don't insert anything in a column. That we know. Okay, we discussed. Just created a table like employee table we created with employee number using primary key constraint, and employee name using ordinal constraint, salary using check constraint. Okay, and data joining as default constraint. So these constraints we used already. But these constraints again we are going to use again and again because they are required all the times. It's required to avoid mistakes and to get the right information into the table. So now this foreign key is going to cover using these RDBMS tables. Okay, and whatever we are talking is very important. And once you're clear with this, you will be in a position to develop any query, okay, based on the requirement, something like that. Okay, the business is expecting this is the output I want from these tables. Okay, so you will be in a position to write any kind of query without struggling, okay, and without any confusion. That's very important. So one-to-one, let's talk about one-to-one. Today we are going to discuss about one-to-one table, how to build a table with relation one-to-one. So always you remember one means there is only two tables. One is primary table, or you can call it as a master table, and another one is child table. Okay, so build the relation between two tables. One is master table and child table. Okay. So master table will have a primary key constraint which should not allow null and duplicate. Child table will have foreign key constraint which will reference the primary key column in master table. Okay, primary column in master table. So let's take one simple example, that is, for example, okay, let's take one simple example. I wanted to create a table called supplier. Okay, I wanted to create a table called supplier. In this, I would like to have columns like vendor ID and vendor name. So vendor ID and vendor name, and this is a master table. Okay, this is called master table. You will have the vendor ID something like say 100, Dell, and 101 say HP, and 102 say HCL example. Okay, these are my vendors. So at this point of time, you cannot say this is the relation, right? But because it's only one table, it's not the relation. But any table that is going to refer this table, then this will become master, and that table will become child table. If any other table which is going to refer this table, then we will call this table as master table, and the next table that is dependent on this table is called child table. So example here, supplier, and I like to create one table called purchase. So in the purchase table, what I will do is PO number, I'll give this PO number and item, quantity, price, and I'll refer this vendor ID here. So this vendor ID, I am going to check here when I am trying to create a PO purchase order, when I am trying to insert a record into the purchase table, I'll refer this. The purchase order number, I'll give some number, example 900. Item, I'll give, say, will be 001, quantity 10, price, some 12,000. Okay, so you know how to create this table, right? You can create a table like a purchase table with PO number, primary key, because PO number always unique, and item is not null, quantity is not null, price not null, vendor ID number you can give. But if you create the relation, if you create like that, then there won't be any relation. So that means here the number which you enter, now for example, if you create these two separate tables and if you don't build a relation, you can give any number here, it will accept. It will accept when if there is no relation between these two tables. But what I want is whenever I enter this number, okay, the vendor ID, always it has to validate whether this vendor ID is correct or not. So that means if I give any of this number from these three numbers, then it should accept. Like if I give 100, yes, it's right. If I give 101, it's right. If I give 102, it's right. But if I give 105, it's wrong because it's not there. Right? That is called as a one-to-one relation. Only two tables here, but this is called child table, which is linked with the master table. This is called as the master table. This is the master table, and at this point of time, this is the child table. So this we will call it as a foreign key. This vendor ID we will call it as a foreign key. Foreign key of reference vendor ID from the supplier table. So in the above example, supplier is called master table, okay, and purchase table is called child table because vendor ID in purchase table should refer the vendor ID in supplier table. Okay, to validate and accept the right purchase order from the right supplier. So if you don't give the right number, then it should reject. So since this we are going to refer here, this we will call it as a master table. Okay. So now this is we are going to create now. Okay. So before that, I wanted to make sure everyone is clear about what is what. It's nothing but build the relation between two tables. So there are two tables called master and child. The master means it's a table which has only primary key columns, and child means it may have primary key that is for different purpose, but it will have a different foreign key which is referring, which is dependent on the master table. The child table means a table which is dependent on another table. Okay. Okay. Any questions from one to one? I am going to create these tables and show you, but before that, wanted to make sure the concept is clear.
Ganesh,
Yes,
Ganesh, a clarification. Like in the child table, no, we have a column as vendor ID. So that
Correct.
vendor ID, as the vendor ID is referring to the supplier table, vendor
Correct.
ID column. So that's why it is called as a foreign key.
Correct. Yes, you are right.
Thank you.
That's correct. That's correct. The column which we are referring is called foreign key.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So in this case, this should be primary key. If the master table vendor ID is not the primary key, then you cannot refer. It won't work. That is one another point we need to remember. Okay. Master table should have the primary key column, and that column can be referenced in child table using foreign key constraint. Okay. Barbara, any questions? Fine. Srini, any questions? Suma?
No, Ganesh, it's quite clear.
Okay. Fine. Sorry. Yeah, Srini, any questions?
No, Ganesh, no questions from my side.
Okay. Okay. Sunita, do you have any questions?
Questions from
Okay.
me.
Okay. Perfect. Sanjay, I think you're clear, right?
Yes, it is clear. The vendor IDs, are you going to, when you say it's a primary key, so
Correct.
are we going to, write that particular, after the data type as a primary key, as we did in the
Correct.
previous session?
Yes, yes. We are
Okay,
going to
okay,
create a table. Yeah, we are going to create this table with these two columns. For vendor ID, we are going to give primary key.
okay,
Okay,
okay. Now
vendor
it's
ID
clear.
will be giving not. Yeah. And after that, we are going to create a purchase table. When you're creating a purchase table, we want this P1 number should be unique. So for P1 number, we'll give primary key. And item, you can give not null. Quantity, you can give number. Price, you can give number. Vendor ID is number, but we have to write here reference this table. Reference supplier of vendor ID. That way we have to write. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So create table supplier. Let's put one code. Maybe there is a supplier table, I think already. So let's create our unique number for our session. So create table. I'll give something like supplier 89. Okay, let's put 89 is our table going forward. 89 we can say our code, our company code something like that. So create table supplier 89. Here I'm going to give vendor ID number and we have to give primary key. Right? Then vendor name, where can 2 of some 10 or 15. You can give normal because if you want enter that vendor ID, that it could be normal. Then bracket close, simple. So table created. Okay, table created. Let's insert this data also. Okay, let's insert this data also. So how will insert? Insert into supplier 89 values. I can give simply vendor ID and single quotation vendor name because it's a character type, right? So vendor ID, vendor name. Let's insert these values 110, 100, then let's insert 1 over. Okay, I'll update it HP. Okay. Then let's insert one more record, 102 and HCL. Okay, select star from now supplier 89. So the data is created. This I can update now. Maybe you don't know this command because this is in the next topic. So right now I will update it. Update supplier agent. By mistake I entered that 10. Set vendor ID equal 102. Sorry, 101. Create vendor ID equal. Okay. Right. So we have this data now. Okay. So this is a command to create the table, and this is the data we inserted. Okay. Step 1. Create the master table, that is supplier. Okay, with vendor ID as primary key and vendor name as master. Okay, this is example from here, step 1. So created the table. So we inserted record 100. Let's check 101 and 102. So finally you are seeing this data. Okay, this is done. Supplier table is done. Next, let's create purchase table. Now, to create a purchase table, let's commit this. Okay, it's done. Supplier is done. Now create table purchase 89 of P1 number primary key, because the P1 number should be unique. And maybe if you give the primary key here, maybe you can refer in some other table also. If any other table wants to depend on this. For example, while creating the invoice always has to refer the P1 number, right? So that's why P1 number is primary key here. And comma item, that is item name, where cat to of let's give 15. If you want to give, you can give null, not null. And quantity number, you can do check constraint also. Minimum quantity should be 5, minimum quantity should be 10, something like that. If you want to give, you can give. And price number, right? And okay, what's the next step? P1 number, item, quantity, price, vendor ID. So this is very important. Vendor ID number we have to give. But the vendor ID which you are going to enter, it should validate here, right? It has to check whether this is there or not. So for that, what we have to do is vendor ID references. You have to write there references supplier 89 of vendor ID. Just if you focus on this, it will be clear. Vendor ID number, as you said, that column we want in the purchase table. But it should not allow any value that you enter. It should allow only the right value that is exist in supplier 89 table. Because I am creating the purchase for the listed vendors. It should not allow for any vendors. There are so many vendors out there. If your system is accepting any vendor, then that doesn't sense, right? Like it has to take the right value. So that is why vendor ID number references. I am going to refer supplier 89 table. Okay, in the supplier 89, I am going to refer this vendor ID. This vendor ID. So that is why I am writing here. This is vendor ID. This is called foreign key. We call it as a foreign key. Close the bracket. And this should be, say, supplier of 89 of vendor ID. Enter. Missing right parenthesis. Okay, here space is not there. Okay, that can change it. Let's create table purchase 89 bracket open PO number primary. Then item where cat 215, that is correct. Quantity number, price number, vendor ID, also correct. Okay, bracket close. Okay, table created. So now we don't have any data. We have to insert purchase 89, no records. Now let us insert and see whether it will validate or not. Okay, so insert into purchase 89 values. Let's take PO number and item.
Ganesh, the purchase spelling is wrong. I think that will.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Purchase 89. Insert it to purchase 89. Values, ampersand PO number, and item. This is character type. Then quantity and price. Now, in insert there is no change as usual. Normally you have to insert and try to give some different number, okay, which is not available in the supplier line table. Okay, let's create with the right vendor now. Okay, purchase 89 values. Make sure all the columns are given here. PO number, item, quantity, price, and when ready. Semicolon, enter. Okay, PO number. Let's start our PO numbers are, for example, 900. Item. This is my item. The item, laptop, item code or item name, whatever you want to write, you can write it. Quantity. So 10. Okay, each item price is say, let's take 25,000. Now, this is very important, vendor ID. So, what are the vendors we have? 100, 101, 102. Now, let me try this 101. So, it's created because 101 is there in supplier table. We are referring the supplier right here. So, that is why it is changing. Now, let me create another PO 910 or 901, some XP001, quantity is 5, 42,000. I use some different number which is not there in the supplier rate table. Like 100 is there, 101 is there, and 102 is there. Let me try with 199. But this is not there, right? So it will give integrity constraint violated. Parent key not found. Parent key. The parent key is this. The supplier agent vendor ID is there, right? This is called parent because you are referring that. So that is why if the number is not available in the supplier table or master table or parents table, you can say, then it's not taken. Integrity constraint is violated. Parent cannot vote because 199 is not there. Let me try with again different number. So same 901, that is PO number. By mistake, I enter 199 there. That's why it's not accepted. XPG, everything is correct, but only vendor ID was entered wrong. So let me give 100, which is 10. It's created. Now let me go back and check the data, purchase 89. You see the data is there. Only 199 is not inserted because that's not correct. So now the relation is there in between these two tables. Even another important point that we are going to implement in future, if you try to remove this 100 or 101 from the master table, you cannot remove it because it has child data. When the master record has some child information, then that record you cannot remove. Okay. But in detail we are going to discuss. Just I am giving you an hint. If there is any record from the master table has some child data, then it's not possible to remove it. It is possible, but there are different ways we have to follow. But directly cannot remove it. But the 102 is there, right? 102 you can remove from the master because it doesn't have any data. Now, supply table and purchase table. If you look at this, 100 is there, 101 is there. So now for these three suppliers, you can insert a number of records. You can repeat this command if you want. For example, I am buying another product from the Dell. So I can give that, okay, PO number say 902, item LP002, quantity 10, 45,000. I wanted to buy from Dell vendor. I can do it. Okay. You can purchase from the same supplier again and again, but only make sure you are giving the right supplier. So first what we did, we created a supply table with primary key constraint. Then we inserted some data. Now later we created the child table, that is purchase table like this. Okay, it's table created. Then we inserted a record. This is accepted. Okay. Okay. Now step 2. Create child table, that is purchase, with reference by referring the vendor ID in master table, that is supply. So created a table and we inserted first record, that is inserted successfully, and we tried to insert the second record. So this is not inserted because of integrity constraint. Third record is inserted, and finally we are seeing the data. So all the steps are given here step by step. After the supply table is created, the step 2 is create the purchase table and insert a record. Make sure, okay, it is accepted or not. Check that 101 is accepted. This is what you need to enter. This will be given by the system. Wherever you are seeing this old and new, that will give the system. Okay, so just you can ignore it, and it's created. Second time I am giving 199, which is wrong, so that's why this message is coming there. And third time it's correct. Okay, and another point is you can have multiple purchase orders with the same vendor, right? So for that also I am giving one example here. That is this one. So this is our final data as of now. So going forward, we are referring these tables apart from these standard tables which are provided by Oracle. Okay. For any query, we are going to refer these 2 tables and next tables also. Okay. So this is all about one-to-one. Next, let me go to one-to-many, or you can say many-to-one. But before that, questions? Any questions? Any doubts? Sanjay, do you have any questions?
Ganesh, if you can go. So, I think while creating a table, so we made one error, right? So because we have to create the table once again. So is there a way where we are entering certain command and that goes wrong and can be editable? Something it is.
Yeah, right. For example, I am giving one table, temp table. Okay, like student number, like this we have given, right? Some mistake we did. Okay, and roll number, S1 number, something it has given some error here. Okay, in this case, what you have to do is just simply press ED. Okay, ED enter. Okay, here ED is not working. Or just you have to, okay, at this point of time, what you can do is just you can copy like this and do like this. But there is an option, ED, generally it will provide ED facility. The editor, maybe in this system, that editor is not installed. You can try in your system. If you press ED, right, what happens? This entire script will be open. Okay, this entire script will be open, and there you can correct it. You can correct it and you can save it. Then simply you can press slash enter.
Okay, I got some idea.
Or just you can copy this. Okay, put it in a notepad. Here you can correct it like this. That basically what ED will do is it opens a notepad. ED, whenever you type ED, right, it opens a notepad like this. Then you can correct it and just file, exit. Okay. Or you can copy here and paste here. name is this name is already used. So generally we press ED. If it won't work, then copy this. So this is just a workaround, but ED will give you that to answer your question. ED is the best answer actually. And going forward, we are going to use some tools. Okay, there you won't hit the the cursor will go up and down. You can move the cursor anywhere. Here the cursor won't move to that particular place, right? But in the tools which we are going to use going forward, there we can use it directly, like toad. Okay, I'm going to show you the toad. So there you can use the up arrow and down arrow, and directly you can correct there, and you can press Control Enter to execute it.
Yeah, thank you, Ganesh, for explanation. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Bhargav, any questions?
No, Ganesh, yeah, it's good.
You're good with one-to-one relation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Ravindra, any questions? Okay. Srini?
No, Ganesh, no questions from my side.
Okay, perfect. Suma?
No, Ganesh, it's very clear.
Okay. Sunita? Okay. Fine. So now let's create one-to-many relation. Okay, this is done. One-to-one is done now. So since everyone is clear about it, just I'm moving it to the next topic. That is one-to-one. So now the one-to-one, next topic is one-to-many. Now we have these tables, right? Final tables are supplier 89 and purchase 89. Okay. Now one-to-many. One-to-many means, okay, for purchase order we want to create an invoice. Okay, the invoice has to be prepared based on the PO number. But we are not linking that invoice with any vendor. Okay, so in that case, what happens? This we can take for the one-to-one, and apart from this, I'm going to show you now one-to-many. One table will have a relation with multiple tables. Multiple, or you can say two or more. Okay. Okay. So this is one-to-one, right? Along with this, next table is invoice. So in the invoice, you are going to have invoice number, okay, and invoice amount. You can have date also, but based on which PO that we are going to. So this PO we are referring, we can refer the PO from this table because PO also primary key, right? PO number is primary key, so you can refer here. So when you start create this invoice table, once that invoice table is successfully created, then this table you can say one-to-many, because this purchase table will have the relation with PO number and PO number in invoice, and also the vendor ID with supplier table. If you focus only purchase table, it's linked with the invoice table with the PO number, and it also linked with the vendor ID from the supplier table. So that's why purchase will become one-to-many. Okay, as soon as the invoice is created, purchase will become. But while creating the invoice, nothing is new. Similar to the purchase table, you have to create. Like when you created a purchase table, what you referred? Vendor ID, right? Vendor ID in supply table. Similarly, in invoice, what you need to refer is PO number from purchase table. Okay, while creating this table, we need to refer the PO number in purchase table. So let's create table invoice 89. Okay, and invoice number, that's number. This is private key again, because invoice number should be unique. Okay, next invoice amount, number, date. So you can say invoice date, that is date. Next column, I put invoice date. Next column is what? PO number. Okay, let's give PO number, references. From which table? Purchase 89 or PO number. Okay, this way we have to give. So that means this PO number I am referring in purchase 89 table. So it always checks, okay, POIs exist or not. Simple. Whether the number which you are going to enter or creating the invoice with the PO number is available or not. If not, then it will reject. The record will be rejected. So make sure the brackets are open properly. Okay, here we opened, here we closed. Main bracket is open, here closed here. Okay, now it's created. Let's insert the record and validate. Okay, so you can create an invoice for only these POs. You should not give any number, the PO number which is not available in this list. So you have to give the right invoice. We have to create a right invoice with the right PO. So insert into invoice 89 values ampersand PO number, ampersand invoice number, right? We have invoice number, then invoice amount. These are all the numerical fields, so I am not giving any single quotation here. Then invoice date and PO number, but date you have to give the invoice date. Okay, and PO number. This is the formula. Okay, enter. So invoice number. Let's start with the 500. Okay, our invoice number starts with 500. Invoice amount. So that is, for example, 2,50,000. It won't calculate automatically. 10 into 25,000 is 25,000. We cannot expect that. It has to calculate automatically. For that, in the PL/SQL, we are going to write the programs. But here, it's a data entry. Okay. But once you build a program, yes, automatically it will calculate and it will enter. Because generally in the project, no one will calculate it manually, right? There's no use of it. But there's a program, that program logic we have to build using these tables. So in that case, the moment you create an invoice and enter the quantity, automatically it will take it from the PO number. Or you can enter the invoice number and PO number, immediately it will pull the data from the purchase table. It will check, okay, PO number is there or not. Yes, if it is there, take the quantity, take the price, multiply it and show the amount. It's completely automated, but in the initial stage, we cannot do that. Okay, so there is a programming part. That's in the PL/SQL. Okay, invoice number and invoice amount is given. Date. Example 10th January 2017. PO number. This is very important. Reference. What you have to do is either 900, 901, 902 you have to give. Okay, let me create PO for 900. The invoice is created for 900. It's created. Now let's create another invoice of 501. Okay, I'm trying to create for this. Okay, 5 into 22,000. Okay, that is around 1,10,000, right? That's an invoice amount and invoice date 10 March 2017. PO number. I'll give wrong PO number 999. That is not there. So integrity constraint violated. Parent key not found. So what I need to do? I need to correct it. 501 and 10th March 2017 with 901. Sorry. So here the date format is wrong, right? 02 I have given instead of hyphen. Okay, so I'll correct it. And it's created. So finally, you can see this data. Invoice 89. So the PO is, when you are creating a PO, it will validate vendor ID. When you are creating an invoice, it will validate PO number. So this is, you can say, one to many. So we created with mistakes I am copying. That I will do that. So this is the example. This is the expected, and the table we created. It's inserted, and the second table is not. Second record is not inserted because of foreign parent key not found. Third record is wrong. Just underneath this. And we corrected it, we inserted. Finally, we have this data in invoice. Okay. So next, okay. Any questions from one to many from anyone? Oh. So, okay. Let me go to the next topic, that is many to many. Okay. So with this many to many, we are going to complete that how to create the tables. Then tomorrow we can start a new topic from the DDL. In the DDL, we are talking about only the topic called create table. Okay, we have three commands, right? In DDL, create table, alter, and drop. Okay, the alter drop we'll discuss tomorrow. So create part is completed, but I'm going to show you one more example, that is how to refer two columns in two different tables. That will cover many to many. Many to many. So this many to many is same. Again, these are all required. Basically, these are all required. These are all we have. Okay. So what's the invoice number that we created here with this 500 invoice amount was. This is take this same value for here. And this is the invoice. For this PO, this is the invoice. So this is accepted, and there were three POs. So let me take this PO also. And for this 901 also, it's created, invoice is created. Okay. And there is another PO also we have. For this PO, we don't have any invoice. So this design will help you to write a lot of queries with different scenarios. So here, if you look at this data, we have three vendors basically, but we created the PO for only two vendors, right? And we have created an invoice. We have three POs, but we created an invoice for two POs. So that means another invoice to be created for one PO, and we have to create purchase orders for another vendor also. So why this is required is later you can write a query for whom we don't have the purchase order. So from which supplier we didn't have any purchase orders. These kind of queries you can write going forward. That's the reason I'm not creating all the POs for all the vendors, all the invoices for all the POs. Like this. So you can also write a query. Okay, I wanted to know the invoices which are not available for POs. So that scenario to be covered. So both the scenarios, invoices I want where the invoices are created for POs, that data I want, and invoices that I want invoice is not created or PO is not created with the invoice, something like this. So to cover different scenarios, just have to vary this data, and this will help us definitely to write a lot of examples, a lot of scenarios. Okay, so let's go with many to many now. So in the many to many, again, along with these three tables, purchase table, this is invoice. So here we create payment step next to make the payments to the supplier, final payment. So here what we have here, like you can say pay ID or payment number and amount paid, and you will have invoice. Against which invoice? So that is invoice number, and next you will have vendor ID, for which vendor ID you are paid. Finally, you have to pay that amount to the vendor, right? Because we bought the item from them. So if I give any invoice number which is not there, either you have to create the payment for only these two invoices. Okay, you cannot make the payment for this directly because it's not there. The invoice is not there. So you can make the payment for only this particular invoices and those vendors. Okay. So now let's create the payments table. So we have supplier 89 and purchase invoice 89. Now let's create the payments table. Create table payments 89. So what will you just will you pay ID number primarily, because that always it should be unique, and amount paid number and invoice number. This we have to references of invoices, right? 89 of invoice number.
The spelling. You can check the spelling.
Which one?
References.
Invoices.
References.
Oh, references. Sorry. References. Okay. References. Invoice 89 of invoice number. Okay. So this invoice number we are going to refer here. The payment that you are making, we have to check the invoice number is right or not, and also we need to check vendor ID. Vendor ID number. Here you have to write references supplier 89 of vendor ID. You have to do like this. So we are checking in two tables. We are checking whether you are giving the right supplier or not, and also we are checking right invoice or not. So table created. Now insert into payments 89 values. Pay ID. So will you pay ID and amount paid, then % invoice number, vendor ID. So pay ID we can give some number. Let's start with 400. Amount paid. This is 2,50,000. So 2,50,000 and invoice number. This is 500. Okay. And to which vendor you have to pay? Okay, that is HP. So 101. 101. Okay. 101. So it's created. Now, if I try to give different invoice, example 401, this is the invoice, right? So 100,000 and invoice number, that is 501 is there, but I'll give 590. Still I'll give the right vendor, example 1 hour. So integrity constraint violated, parent cannot go. So this is an example for the many to many. Select start from payments 18. So finally we have only one record. So for one invoice we make the payment. So finally we have this data and we are going to write queries using these tables. We have our own database design and we are going to use them for all our queries along with other standard tables. Like there are two standard tables, they are called department and EMP. I am going to show them. Okay, this is our data finally. So with this data, you can write all types of queries in SQL. So we can cover all types of scenarios, business scenarios. So that's what this design is very, very important. Okay, so there are some standard tables. Those standard tables are select star from department. Okay, just let me increase the slide size. Select star from ERP. So these two are the standard tables. ERPT and ERP. So in the standard table, this is department table basically. We have department number, department name and location. Okay, if you want to see the structure of this table, you can see, you can write describe department. You can say department number, number type, and it's a primary key. For primary key also you can see not null constraint here. But you can see whether this is primary key or only just not null. You can also see by writing the queries that anyway. I'll let you know that. Department name and location. Okay, this is master data. How you can say master data is because this department number is common here. This is a common. Department number to department number. And what type of data it is? What type of relation? It is one to one. Correct? It's one to one. Because only two tables and one to one relation is there. Okay. And each department we have employees. These are all employees. And this is the reference. This employee belongs to 10th department. This employee belongs to 30th department, which is sales. And Clark is belongs to 10. Jones belongs to 20, which is research. Okay, you can see that. Okay, you can understand by seeing. And jobs also we have like president. This hierarchy the followed. President, under president managers, under managers analysts, under analyst clerk. Under clerk salesman, under salesman again clerks, something like this. Okay, and salary we have, and commission, somewhere the commission is none. For few employees no commission, and salary is there. Who when joined? Okay, the date of joining, and who is the manager? This is another important point. So manager is again employee in the organization, right? Manager is again employee in the organization. For example, for president no manager. If you look at this data. 7698 Blake, who is manager? 7839. Again, I'm saying manager is also employee. So how you can find this? Who is the manager? What is the name of this 7839? So you have to come to the employee number 7839. You need to search and check that 7839 is King. So King is the manager for Blake. You're getting right. 7782 Clark. For Clark, who is the manager? 7839. But this guy also, Jones also 7839. Okay, let me take 7788 is the employee. Scott is employee. His employee number is this. His employee number is this. But who is manager for him? 7566. Who is 7566? Somewhere that should be there. Jones. Jones is a manager. For Scott, Jones is a manager. For Ford also, Jones is a manager. For Smith, 7902. Everything is here, 790. Ford is a manager. Okay. So this data will help us to cover some of scenarios, okay, which are very, very important. So going forward, our own database tables and the standard tables we are going to use to cover all types of business scenarios. Okay, so I think everyone is clear. Are any questions? Please go ahead. I am done with today's topic, so you can go ahead with your queries now.
Ganesh, we can have multiple reference key, like foreign key in a command, right? We need in many to many.
Yes, we can have like this. For payments, we did that example. References from the invoice, we are checking invoice number, and we are also validating the vendor ID from the supplier data. Two references we used.
Okay, thank you. And this is, I don't know, regarding this date. So when we type, it's like DDMM, YYY. So can we also do it as YYY, 4 Ys?
Okay. No, this is actually standard format. Okay, but you can convert that. You can convert while writing the queries. For example, we have payments table or invoice table, right? While we are going to write different queries, there we can write like care of invoice date, comma, like this. YY, then DD from invoice statement, like this. So the complete query you can write like this. Select invoice number, comma, invoice amount, to care of invoice date, comma, the format that you want, YY, slash, and then slash DD, comma, PO number from invoice 8. The format is changed. Final output is this. But while creating, you have to give the standard format.
Okay, thank you.
That
For the clarification.
while inserting also or while creating also you can change it. So for that also you can write a program. So that it will convert automatically. If you give it the year, month, date format, it will be converted into the standard format. And in the output again the format that you want, you can write it. What I'm trying to say is, while inserting if you want, okay, I don't want to insert in the standard format, but I want to insert a record with the format that I want. Okay, because like different countries are following different formats, right? So based on that, if you want to change it, you can also change that. Now let's take the standard format, but in the output, in the report which I am going to generate, there I want the format based on the country. So then we can change it, either the way. But right now, yeah, we'll enter the standard format, but we can write the queries in the format that we want.
So Ganesh, doesn't that pollute the table when you're entering different formats?
Yeah, it won't allow.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it will allow, but for that we have to change the we have to write the program. Okay, so when you write a program, you can enter the data format that you want, and automatically it will convert and it will store into the standard format. But Yeah, at this point of time, what I'm saying is we'll enter in the standard format, but we will write the queries to get the output in the format that we want.
Okay, I got it. So
Okay, yeah.
I got it. So how do you avoid duplication of data?
Yeah, that is primary key we are giving, right? So any column, primary key, always primary key means it won't allow the duplicate.
Okay, that's right. But what about inserting values? Does that go and insert values somewhere else into the data? Into a
No,
table?
no, it won't insert in any table. It will reject. For example, supply table we have, right? Okay, let me create one more record with the same supplier ID. Insert into supplier 89 values. I'll give 100 vendor. Okay, so Delhi, India, something like this. This is what you are expecting. It's violated because it's a primary key constraint, right?
Yeah.
This is what it answered. My explanation is answered your query.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay, that's fine. And yeah, that's what again I was just pointing this, right. Whenever you are building a master key relation, this is very important point that we need to remember. For example, this is a child table and this is the master table, right? This should have the primary key. Otherwise, we cannot call it as a primary or master table. Master table means other table which is going to depend on this table. So the supplier is a master table here, purchase is a child table, but this vendor ID we are referring here, right? So you have something, right? Okay, I am creating this table, then I am going to create another table, but the table has to refer this table. So that way you need to design your database.
Yeah, I agree
So
with
that's
that.
what.
But I'm sorry. So when you query, when you query from the tables,
Okay.
is there a duplication? That's like you query like 2-3 items from different tables, multiple tables.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, there are chances to give the output. That means your query can return duplicate records. So we have to apply these commands like group by class, and there are different distinct etc. functions are there. So we are going to use them to avoid the duplication to get only unique records.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we are going to discuss each and every command, which will like to give you all, I mean, all your whatever the scenarios that you are expecting, right? So something like you are saying that I don't want duplicate records. Or similar to that, you may have some different scenarios in your mind. So those commands are going to clear all your scenarios, and it will give you the knowledge to develop the queries to get the output that you are expecting. Okay, because we have so many commands, like we discussed TDL commands, DML commands, DCL commands, TCL commands. So then, once you familiar with all those commands, yes, we can write any query to get the output that you are expecting. Okay. Just give me a second. I'll show you an example. Okay, let's take this. So these are all the topics basically. Okay, you will be receiving notes like this. SQL commands, constraints, inserting the data, creating tables using constraints, and table level constraints, RDBMS tables. They are nothing but like one-to-one, one-to-many. Okay, this is what we discussed. Right, one-to-one, and how to create the tables, one-to-many, many-to-many, etc. Similarly, next order, that's the next topic that we are going to discuss, and DML commands. Next, these are all detailed commands up to here. In DML, insert, update, delete. Then what is an NVL function, DQL commands. In the DQL functions, DQL commands, okay, you are answered. Okay, we are going to develop the query to avoid the duplicate records and all. So with this topic, this will be clear. And how to join multiple tables. For example, we have 4 tables. I want to collect the information from all the tables. How to get that? So these are all like we have PCL commands. So many commands are there. We are going to discuss them in detail. Okay. So it's easy to understand also. I made it very simple. Okay. So we are going to talk each and every time. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine. So I think if no questions, then we can wind up the session and we can meet tomorrow. I think ERPTREE is trying to start the session sharp 8 o'clock. Today they have some technical issues. Even I told Raviteja and whoever is taking the responsibility of providing the link. So yeah, just going forward, we'll make sure that we'll have the session.
Yeah, that would be really
8
nice.
o'clock sharp. Yeah, yes, I was talking to them. Right. Because even I have another session after this, so it's difficult to postpone that session also every time, right? So I wanted to make sure that the session starts on time, and yeah, we can finish in 10 minutes here and there. That's not a problem. Depends on various setups. Okay, so thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you, Ganesh.